Mohamed Salah's future at Liverpool is taking a shocking turn. Exit rumours, huge money moves and reactions from football legends. Everything is unfolding fast. Stick with us for the full breakdown and don't forget to hit subscribe to Anfield Wire for all the latest Liverpool news, transfers and updates. Pep Guardiola already gave his verdict on Mohamed Salah's last Liverpool deal. Mohamed Salah has confirmed he will leave Liverpool at the end of the season after 9 years in the Premier League. With Pep Guardiola among those potentially relieved Liverpool fans won't be alone in feeling disappointed about Mohamed Salah's departure from the Premier League for a new challenge this summer. However, Pep Guardiola might well be among those quietly breathing a sigh of relief at the exit of the Anfield icon. The 33-year-old Salah confirmed on Tuesday night that his 9-year stint in England's top division will draw to a close in June. This is despite having another year left on his deal and being expected to mark a full decade on Merseyside. But Guardiola is probably not shedding tears over the news. Salah has been the driving force behind Liverpool's success in recent seasons, which has in turn stopped Guardiola's Manchester City from reaching even greater heights during the same time frame. The City boss provided insight into his regard for Salah following the player's contract extension at Liverpool last year. It's commonplace for rival players or managers to praise footballers when they reach significant career moments like this. However, there appeared to be more than a touch of frustration, perhaps even jealousy, in Guardiola's response. That's good for Arne Slot and the fans of Liverpool. There's no doubt the quality of Mo Salah. Any frustration wasn't particularly aimed at Salah or Liverpool though. Instead, Guardiola's response seemed to suggest disappointment that his side would continue facing the Egyptian threat when he came so close to being rid of it. Guardiola was notably measured in acknowledging that Salah's new contract was beneficial for Slot and Liverpool's fan base, but not for the Premier League overall. It's perhaps the highest compliment one can receive from arguably the most successful manager in the game's history. Guardiola not wanting to face you as an opponent any longer is a clear sign you're doing something right. And one can hardly blame him given Salah has scored 13 goals and provided another 8 assists in 24 outings against City, while at Liverpool plus one more during his Chelsea days. Salah found the net twice and laid on 2 assists in just 2 league encounters against City as Liverpool stormed to the title last season. And the two rivals are scheduled to clash again on April 4th in the FA Cup quarter-finals. This could potentially be the last occasion Guardiola manages a side against Salah as the Egyptian prepares to leave Anfield. It's one chapter in his footballing career he may be keen to bring to a close. Mohamed Salah has already hinted at new career after leaving Liverpool. Mohamed Salah has confirmed his departure from Liverpool at the end of the season, with the Egyptian forward having previously suggested coaching could be a possibility after his playing career ends. Mohamed Salah has hinted he could move into coaching when he hangs up his boots. The Liverpool striker has confirmed he will leave Anfield at the end of the current season. Al Hilal began his professional career with Arab contractors in Egypt before moving to Europe with FC Basel in 2012. His first stint in England arrived with Chelsea 2 years later, although he was sent on loan to Italy after a challenging spell. The Egyptian showcased his ability with both Fiorentina and later Roma before returning to the Premier League with the Reds. The rest is history. Salah has scored more than 250 goals for the club and been instrumental in 2 league title triumphs and a Champions League victory. He will now depart Anfield after 9 trophy-filled years, though it was during his time at Roma that Salah suggested his career might ultimately take a different path. In 2016, after Salah's transfer to the Italian side on an initial loan deal that included a permanent option, he took part in a Q&A on social media. One fan asked whether the Egyptian would ever consider becoming a coach once his playing career ends. He responded, "You never know what can happen tomorrow, but it is a possibility." Salah hasn't ruled out the prospect and hinted he could transition into management upon hanging up his boots. However, it seems at least for now he will conclude his playing days at a different club following his Anfield departure. During the same Q&A session, Salah kept open the option of returning to the Egyptian league, although current speculation suggests the Saudi Pro League and Major League Soccer as probable next destinations. Salah stated in his farewell video, "Hello everyone. Unfortunately, the day has come. This is the first part of my farewell. I will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. I wanted to start by saying that I never imagined how deeply this club, this city, these people would become part of my life. Liverpool, it's not just a football club, it's a passion. It's a history, it's a spirit. I can't explain in words to anyone not part of this club. We celebrated victory, we won the most important trophies, and we fought together through the hardest time in our life. I want to thank everyone who was part of this club throughout my time here, especially the teammates past and present. And to the fans, I don't have enough words. The support you showed me through the best time of my career, and you stood by me in the toughest times. It's something I will never forget and something I will take with me always. Leaving is never easy. You gave me the best time of my life. I will always be one of you. This club will always be my home to me and to my family. Thank you for everything. Because of all of you, I will never walk alone. Mohamed Salah ready to one-up Cristiano Ronaldo with $1.3 billion prediction. Mohamed Salah has announced he will leave Liverpool this summer, with a football finance expert predicting what that could mean financially for both the player and club. A football finance expert reckons Liverpool could have significant spending power for fresh signings this summer following Mohamed Salah's departure from the club. Salah, who has confirmed he will bring his illustrious 9-year spell at Anfield to a close at the end of this season, is predicted to become a £1 billion, $1.3 billion footballer should he make the switch to Saudi Arabia. Where the Egyptian forward heads next is still uncertain. However, the Reds must now seek a replacement for the club's third all-time leading scorer after agreeing terms over the remaining 12 months of the 2-year extension he penned just in April 2025. Reports have widely suggested that Salah, who has netted 255 goals in 435 outings for Liverpool since his £34.3 million, $45.9 million transfer from Roma in June 2017, will depart on a free transfer, reports the Liverpool Echo. While the Reds won't pocket a transfer fee for a player who attracted a £150 million, $201 million bid from Al Ittihad in September 2023, they will free up his wages, understood to exceed £400,000, $535,000 per week, from their salary commitments. Rob Wilson, Professor of Applied Sport Finance at University Campus of Football Business in London, told Betting Lounge extracting any meaningful transfer fee while also removing the highest earner off their wage bill just wasn't realistic, so terminating his contract makes financial sense. From Liverpool's perspective, the economics are really quite clear, even if emotionally, particularly for the fans, it probably feels like the end of an era. Salah's been one of the most commercially impactful players in the club's modern history, but I think we're at a point now where his on-the-pitch contribution, age profile and wage level has really diverged from an optimal position in terms of squad efficiency. I think Liverpool really should have cashed in when he was at peak value before providing him with a very lucrative contract, and what we're seeing now is an outcome of that big decision, tying him to excessive wages at a time when his physical prowess will naturally diminish. From what I'm seeing, there will be no transfer fee. It's a termination of contract. What that means is that they remove one of the highest salary commitments that they've got on their books. And from a pure financial modelling standpoint, it is a positive outcome. It frees up some PSR space and so on. So what you're really doing is recycling capital to free up wages, create that headroom and enable you to reinvest into younger assets with more longer-term resale value. Naturally, there is of course a commercial trade-off. Salah has been central to Liverpool's global brand, and particularly their digital footprint and their branding exercise in the Middle East and Africa. So his departure will probably create a short-term dip in engagement metrics. Things like shirt sales, digital reach and sponsorship activation in those territories, which means when coupled with Liverpool's rather patchy season that they've had in the Premier League, it is likely to damage their market share in those territories, although they are naturally a very historical brand. To counteract that, we probably should say that Liverpool's commercial models are much more mature and diversified than many other clubs in the Premier League. They're already less dependent on a single individual than they might have been 5 years ago. The key will not be how quickly they can replace Salah's output, but how quickly they can change the narrative. Football brands are built on storytelling as much as they are on performance. The Reds invested nearly £450 million, $602 million last summer as they rebuilt their Premier League title-winning squad. with the £116 million, $155 million and £79 million, $106 million signings of Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, respectively, being followed by the £125 million, $167 million British record transfer acquisition of Alexander Isak. They also brought in close to £230 million, $308 million. However, their title defence has struggled significantly and they have entered the international break 21 points adrift of leaders Arsenal. There have been mitigating circumstances behind Liverpool's domestic decline, with one being the downturn in Salah's form, who has only managed to score 10 goals across 34 games in all competitions. Yet the 33-year-old remains highly sought after, having cemented his reputation as one of football's elite talents. Salah's representative Rami Abbas Issa confirmed on Tuesday that we do not know where Mohamed will play next season. His prominent client has repeatedly been linked with the Saudi Pro League, and Wilson reckons such a transfer could elevate Salah's stature and wealth beyond even Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. This is a pivotal moment not only for Mohamed Salah, the football player, but also Mohamed Salah, the global brand, Wilson said. It's widely expected that he will finally make the move to the Saudi Pro League, and I think that would be more than just a late career move to cash in. It's potentially the most strategically significant commercial decision that we've seen from any modern-day football player. It would put Salah on a very realistic trajectory to potentially even surpass both Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi in terms of career earnings, and as a brand become a £1 billion, $1.3 billion athlete in his own right. The reason for this is less to do with Salah's performances and more about his alignment with the cultural capital across the Middle East, North Africa and the broader EMEA region, where he is utterly unmatched by anybody else in sport. Salah doesn't just sell shirts, he represents identity, values, faiths and aspirations to hundreds of millions of people throughout that region. And if you place Salah into the Saudi Pro League ecosystem, which has clearly been engineered as a geopolitical project, the upside is enormous. We're not just talking about a standard contract when it comes to Mohamed Salah to Saudi Arabia. We're talking about something that would be fully integrated in terms of its commercial appeal and its platform. That salary, his image rights, his ambassadorial roles and sovereign partnerships, very similar to what we saw with Ronaldo, but on another scale. I'd estimate a total deal structure including wages, bonuses and commercial activations approaching the £1 billion mark over 5 to 7 years if he can keep going until he is 40, as has been the case with Ronaldo. This would be structured even more aggressively than Ronaldo's move, so that Salah would probably go on to ultimately exceed £1 billion in lifetime earnings during this period. And that's really before we even start thinking about his post-playing opportunities. Salah may not be paid as highly as Ronaldo initially in terms of basic wages, but he would likely become a long-term global ambassador for Saudi Arabia's broader economic and cultural strategy, particularly with the lead up to the World Cup in 2034. Given the alignment and geopolitical aspects, Salah would likely surpass Ronaldo's annual earnings before the age of 40, leading to annual earnings in excess of £250 million, $334 million a year. Why Xabi Alonso won't join Liverpool immediately if Arne Slot is fired? Xabi Alonso continues to be linked with replacing Arne Slot at Liverpool, but even if the current Reds boss is fired before the end of the season, he won't be taking his job early. Xabi Alonso does not want to join Liverpool before the end of the current season, even if Arne Slot is fired as the club's head coach between now and the end of May. Speculation continues over Slot's future as Liverpool's disappointing season continues, with the Reds' hopes of qualifying for next season's Champions League hanging in the balance. With just 7 league games remaining, the Reds look as though they will have to rely on the Premier League earning an extra spot in Europe's top club competition, given they sit 5 points behind 4th placed Aston Villa and just 1 point ahead of 6th placed Chelsea. Fortunately for Liverpool, it does look likely that England will be handed an extra spot, although that isn't easing the pressure on Slot at the moment. His side's poor form and underwhelming performances have been testing the patience of supporters, with the recent draw at home to relegation-threatened Tottenham leading to fans booing at full time. And with Alonso currently out of a job, rumours are persisting that the former Liverpool midfielder is being lined up to replace Slot. The club is thought to still be backing the Dutchman, although Sport Bild claimed that the Reds have settled on Alonso as their preferred candidate should Slot be dismissed. However, the same publication suggests that if that decision were made before the end of the current season, Liverpool would need to find a temporary replacement to fill in before Alonso arrives. The 44-year-old is said to have ruled out the possibility of taking charge of the Reds for the final stretch of the season, owing to his previous experience at Real Madrid. Alonso took charge of Los Blancos for last summer's Club World Cup, despite having doubts about doing so, which Bild says proved to be a costly mistake. Real exited the tournament at the semi-final stage after a heavy 4-0 defeat to Paris Saint-Germain, which it suggested put Alonso under immediate pressure before the new season had even begun. He would go on to be fired by Madrid in January this year, following weeks of speculation about his future, with a fractured relationship with some members of his squad thought to have contributed to his downfall. Nevertheless, Alonso remains an in-demand option for clubs heading into the summer, although it looks as though he won't be taking any jobs before then, with Bild claiming that prospect is out of the question. Steven Gerrard fears top Mohamed Salah transfer replacement not available to Liverpool. Liverpool will need to find a replacement for Mohamed Salah in the summer transfer window, but Steven Gerrard has cast doubt on a player tipped to be the Reds' top target. Steven Gerrard cast doubt on whether Liverpool would be able to sign Michael Olise, who has been tipped as the ideal replacement for Mohamed Salah. Liverpool will be bidding farewell to Salah this summer after 9 years at Anfield, with the Egyptian this week making the surprise announcement that he is leaving the club. Having reached an agreement, the Reds, the 33-year-old, will depart on a free transfer after the final year of his contract was waived. Liverpool will therefore likely spend the summer looking at potential replacements, with a number of big names having already been touted. Bayern Munich star Olise is among those to have been tipped for a move to Anfield, and the former Palace star's name was brought up as Gerrard discussed possible options with former England teammate Owen Hargreaves for TNT Sports. Liverpool will probably look for more 1v1 merchants who can go on the outside, said Gerrard. At times this season, certainly when they had that spell when they were quite inconsistent, they were too predictable on the sides. And the way this manager, Arne Slot, wants to play is work it side to set the 1v1s up. They have missed Luis Diaz a lot. I would say we need to address the sides of the pitch. Hargreaves then chipped in saying, if you're Liverpool, you've got to go ready, tried and tested. For me, that would be Michael Olise, somebody of that calibre, Hargreaves said. Gerrard, though, threw that suggestion into immediate doubt, responding, would they get him though? Would he be available? Hargreaves replied, probably not. But the thing is, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I wouldn't want to see him leave Bayern because that front three is amazing. But if you're talking Olise on that right-hand side for Liverpool, that's box office. Hargreaves would go on to also suggest Paris Saint-Germain's Bradley Barcola and RB Leipzig's Yan Diomande as potential options for Liverpool, with the former Manchester United midfielder saying the latter leaves people for dead. Gerrard would also throw two West Ham players into the mix, suggesting both Crescencio Somerville and Jarrod Bowen, although he isn't convinced on the latter. I like Somerville, Gerrard said. He is brilliant in 1v1s, he looks hungry. In a team that has struggled, he has been a shining light and got better as the season has gone on. I really like Bowen and think he is a top player, but I am not sure he is Salah's level to replace him. Gary Lineker hides nothing with reaction to Mohamed Salah's bombshell exit post. Mohamed Salah has confirmed he will leave Liverpool at the end of the season after 9 years at Anfield, with Gary Lineker thanking the Egyptian icon for his contribution to English football. Gary Lineker expressed gratitude to Mohamed Salah for everything that you've done for English football, following the Liverpool legend's confirmation that he will depart the Reds at the end of the current season. The Liverpool attacker will bring the curtain down on his illustrious Anfield spell at the campaign's end, concluding 9 years at the club, throughout which he cemented his status as a contemporary Premier League icon. In a statement published on Tuesday evening, Salah said, "Unfortunately, the day has come. This is the first part of my farewell. I will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. I wanted to start by saying that I never imagined how deeply this club, this city, these people would become part of my life. Liverpool is not just a football club, it's a passion, it's a history, it's a spirit. I can't explain in words to anyone not part of this club. We celebrated victory, we won the most important trophies, and we fought together through the hardest time in our life. I want to thank everyone who was part of this club throughout my time here, especially the teammates past and present. And to the fans, I don't have enough words. The support you showed me through the best time of my career, and you stood by me in the toughest times. It's something I will never forget and something I will take with me always. Leaving is never easy. You gave me the best time of my life. I will be always one of you. This club will always be my home to me and to my family. Thank you for everything. Because of all of you, I will never walk alone. Former England captain and Match of the Day host Lineker responded to the announcement on the Rest is Football X account, sharing a video message of gratitude to Salah. News has broken that Mohamed Salah will leave at the end of the season. 9 years at Liverpool, and what a 9 years it's been, and he's been a phenomenon, Lineker said. Unbelievably brilliant footballer, 2 league titles, Champions League, 2 League Cups, FA Cup, Super Cup, and of course the Club World Cup as well. He scored so many goals, it's been so consistent for such a long period of time, and I'd just like to say thank you, Mo, for everything that you've done for English football, in particular the Premier League, and of course for Liverpool. You've been a credit to our sport. It's been great having you here, and wish you all the very best in the future, whatever that will bring.